You should be proud of being vegan. In a world where 99% of people aren't, you've come to the realization and you've broken free from social norms to do what you believe is the right thing. But wouldn't you rather have known about all this years ago? If only you would have known you could have made this lifestyle change so long ago. Well, think about all the other people who aren't consciously aware of animal suffering, or believe in misconceptions about veganism, such as it being too expensive or too hard to do or unhealthy. Now that you're vegan, now that you have this knowledge, you are one of the few on the planet who have the ability to influence others to help achieve animal liberation. Now, I know that taking the step from being a passive vegan to an active one can be quite daunting. In fact, when I first went vegan, I had this drive to do something. I wanted to be active, but I didn't know where to start, and I was also quite nervous about it all. But I remember just ordering a load of leaflets off the internet, vegan leaflets, and I literally, this is when I was living in Wales with my parents, I just went out like 11, 12 o'clock at night and just started posting them into letterboxes up and down the street. But I was quite anxious about that. I felt nervous doing it. I was kind of worried that someone would see me and I'd have to explain what I do. Like if I'm about to post it into someone's door and they open it, and what am I going to say to them? How can I explain why I'm doing this, what I'm doing? Because I didn't have that experience behind me. I thought I just looked creepy, like going around people's houses in the dark trying to post things through the letterbox. But that was my activism at the time. And I see people commenting on some of my videos telling me that they could never do what I'm doing. They could never approach people in the street and talk about veganism. But bear in mind, a few years ago, I was really nervous just to post a leaflet into someone's letterbox. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that things can change. And when you gain experience doing something, you gradually become more and more confident in doing so. So if you'd have asked me then, when I was creeping around the streets at night, posting leaflets into people's letterboxes, if I'd ever be doing street interviews and approaching people in the street, I wouldn't have believed you. I wouldn't have believed you if you told me what I was doing today. And that's not to say that I don't still feel some anxiety when I'm approaching people in the street to talk about veganism today. I do. And that's okay. I think it's a good sign, if anything, because it shows that you care about the result, you care about the conversation. If you're someone who thinks, I could never do this, I could never do these street interviews, well, remember that you don't have to do these street interviews to be an activist. Start with something small that brings you out of your comfort zone a little bit. For you, that could be posting leaflets through letterboxes. It could be buying vegan stickers and putting them on lampposts. I think a really good place to start is actually just to educate yourself about veganism. So before I started doing any street activism, I already had binge watched, like, I can't even tell you how many Earthling Ed videos, all the street interviews I could find on the internet I had watched. So if you're looking for somewhere to start, you could start there. And once you've done that for a little bit, maybe you could attend a Cube of Truth event. I think Anonymous for the Voiceless events are a really great place to start. And if you go to one of these events, there's absolutely no pressure to talk to the public if you don't feel comfortable doing so yet. You can actually just stand in the cube holding a sign or holding a laptop that shows footage to the public. If you want to, you can shadow a more experienced activist to see how their conversations go. But of course, you can do this at home as well if you want to. I myself have several videos of Cube events, and I know loads of other activists do, so you can always check them out. And if you feel ready, then just jump in and have a conversation with the public. You may be nervous about how well it's going to go, but bear in mind that even the most experienced activists have terrible conversations as well. I mean, I think a lot of it is just luck of the draw, whether you're getting someone who's open to the message or not. And the great thing about activism as well is that if you do mess up one of your conversations, it's not a big deal. There's so many more people who are open to the message for you to talk to. And you can think about how you can use your characteristics or your skills to promote the vegan message as well. You can be creative. I mean, even if you're a vegan bodybuilder, for instance, let's say you have a lot of muscle, well, you could break some stereotypes by just wearing a vegan vest when you're exercising in the gym. There's so many things you can do. Somebody recently sent me a children's book about how to introduce your child to veganism. If you're a writer, you could do something like that. Be creative and use your skills. And you can take something that you're already doing, something you're already passionate about, and put a spin on it so it becomes activism. For instance, if you're really into baking or cooking, you could make meals for your friends and family so that they understand that you can have great tasting meals that are vegan. But regardless of how you decide to start your activism, be unapologetic in your vegan message. Don't let lame jokes or criticism stop you from saying what needs to be said or doing what needs to be done. Just remember why you started. Those animals, they cannot help themselves. They need you. They need your voice today tomorrow, and every day after. I think a lot of new vegans feel a pressure not to be too vocal with their veganism for fear of being labelled a preachy vegan. Do you know who else was labelled as preachy? Civil rights activists when they wanted to abolish slavery. They won. Feminists when they wanted to get women the right to vote. They won. And we will win this fight. So if you're not an activist today, you can be one tomorrow. You should be one tomorrow. And if you are an activist today, thank you and keep going. What are you doing, mate? Are you pissing yourself? I'm vegan?